just in the early stages of that, planning on that. Again, the Georgia project is what I'm working on right now. I have a veterinary hospital in Nashville, Tennessee, that I'm a finalist for designing. That's a 10,000 square foot facility in Tennessee. And I have to go all over the same type. This is like to illustrate that. I have to, in order to make a living, I have to be able to travel all over the country to be able to sell myself and my, you know, I don't have a product. I have a service that I provide, but it's very similar. The services that we provide are kind of across the board. You know, but locally, I have there's a building that I'm working on right on the corner of Wasser and Lawn Road. You probably see it up here. It's a house that's been under construction for probably 3 years. And it's one of those jobs where you say, God, I wish I didn't get that job. I probably would be a whole lot better off. You'll see right here. This house was kind of a Spanish mission style that we had. And it's been, you've probably driven by there a dozen times, but this house had lots of trouble with it. It had a builder who was a race car driver who managed to kill himself last summer in July. The project kind of went south. We were sort of taken off the job early on, and now we've been brought back because it's having trouble. So that's going on right now. It's a $4 million, 13,000 square foot house, and there's only 3 people living in it. So it's hard for that type of thing. You talk about passion. It's kind of hard for me to be passionate about that job, but it's very important that some of these things happen in this community. It's a very important person who works in one of the hospitals in town, and they're committed to the area. They want to spend money in the economy. They want to encourage people to do things. This house will be used for meetings for his clients and for out-of-town guests. So it is important, and it's sort of the gambit of what I do. I do you know, much smaller house. I'm working on a family room addition in a house in Royal Oak. I've done Burger Kings. I've done nicer restaurants. I did a couple restaurants in Birmingham. We're doing a theater in Georgia. So there's a lot of things going on. Right now I'm also working on a container system in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm working with a gentleman who wants to take those big shipping containers and turn them into housing for some of the hurricane stricken areas in the country. And that's another, you know, it's another kind of a knockoff of trying to be adaptable, trying to take something and make something out of something that's junk to somebody else.
Kevin, as these young people look forward to their college and their future life, looking back now, was there something particular at Notre Dame or Brother Rice or your family background or your wife that enabled you to have the courage to, strike out on your own and do these projects?
That's a great question. There's like these little epiphanies as you go through life, and I think when I mentioned I was working for Walbridge Aldinger here, and I had kind of that large corporation mentality, like the corporation was going to take care of me, and I managed to get on the wrong side of some people politically at Walbridge Aldinger, and I was dismissed. I was given 2 weeks. I was fired. I had 2 kids. I had a daughter on the way, and I didn't have a job. And you talk about, we're talking about being able to weather the storm. That was an epiphany for me. I said to myself at that point, I am never going to put myself or my family in that position again. I was trying to move back to Denver. I was trying to get a job back in Colorado so I could be where I was when I was, under the yoke of a large corporation. And the corporation here pretty much abandoned me because of some political things that were happening, and I managed to take the wrong side or to be a little too vocal when I should have kept my mouth shut. But I'm glad it happened. I'm glad you brought it up, Dave, because that was a turning point for me. That was when I said I'm never going to let myself get in a situation where someone else controls my destiny. It was a scary thing, and my wife was wonderful through that process. I went immediately. I went to Manresa, got locally here at Brother Rice. I came back to Brother Rice to visit with my teachers and coaches. And what's wonderful is Brother Rice, as you guys go through a lot of these. Mr. Kozlowski was here when I was here. Ron Kelzinski hadn't even. Dave Soffern wasn't even born yet. Brian Kelzinski wasn't even born yet. So I mean, these guys, this community has really helped me get through a tough time. You know, when I had to really tighten my belt and figure out a way to make it work and feed my family. I mean, it was down to the point where, you know, I was like two house payments away from foreclosure. So that's one of those things that really strike a chord with me, and that's why, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because now I feel like I can navigate, I can go places, I can make a living, I can help people do what I do. My services, no matter what happens, no matter what the economy's doing, I can still do a good job, I can still help people.
But you probably didn't think of that at the time.
No.
It was a calamity.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, my dad wanted me to be an engineer, all the people in my family, engineers. You're going into teaching, isn't that for women or something, you know? I mean, and then all my cousins were GMI, they were working for General Motors and Cadillac. Well, all along this economy, they've lost their jobs with the big three.
Right.
I'm still working,
Yes.
you know? I mean, I haven't driven a Cadillac, but I have a car.
Yes.
I haven't, you know, lived in a house like that, but I live in a house. So, I mean, I think the kids have to understand that they've got to follow their heart in this entrepreneurial. Are you really taking a risk? I mean, we talk about taking risks. Maybe you're taking a risk by, you know, being too stodgy or following somebody else's idea of what you should do. You probably need to follow your own heart and your own idea. And
I love what I do. I mean, it's really, like I said, from a small family room to a large development, I love going into the field and working every day and trying to figure out, it's all a puzzle, you know, try to figure out how you help people, how you can take something with a limited budget and make it happen. To me, some of the best projects I've ever worked on were when there were two nickels to scrape together. Now, being an entrepreneur, and Greg and I have talked about this before, is while you're doing all these wonderful things, you have to make money. If you're not making money, you're not going to be able to do some of those things that you want to do. You're not going to be able to help the people you want to help, or do the things, you know, with your family and everything. So there's a balance between your passion for something and your ability to make that passion turn into something that's viable and usable by someone. So that's what really helped me. And my time here at Brother Rice, and I said the Manresa community, Brother Rice community, has been helping me forever, and I can't tell you how important that is. And God bless you for coming here. You made the right decision to come to Brother Rice and Marion, because you're going to have that forever. Is that about it?
That's it.
In your job, you know, people that do your job are in temptations to cut corners here and there, and get an extra buck, or your values that you learned here in the family in Notre Dame serve to support your reputation.
Well, you know, Dave, that's a good point, because, you know, a lot of times what you have, all you have, in my case, is my reputation, because I don't create a particular product. I provide a service that provides a product, a building product. So for me, the integrity of what I do and the sense of fairness and everything is vital to people. When people are bidding projects, for instance, we can't share information. We don't want to tip the scales to another bidder to get a job that's going to be constructing a facility. We have to be, you know, be above board and honest as often, you know, all the time, because one misstep or anything like that, we will lose our integrity, we'll lose our reputability and our credibility with a lot of these builders and designers who are consultants for us. So we always try to be very forthright and honest about how we behave in the field and what we expect. We expect the same from the people who work with us and work for our clients. We expect them to be honest and forthright throughout the process. And when things happen, you have to take responsibility for what you do. You have to, you know, admit when you make a mistake and find a way to get through it, and figure out a way that everybody can manage the proper solution.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Coach Hart. Okay. right, thank you all for coming. For those of you that didn't know, this is Global Entrepreneurship Week this week. That explains the sign. So I want to thank you, Mr. Hart, for coming in to Brother Rice and speaking and gracing us with your presence. If all of you have not gotten a bagel or some juice, there's still some over there, so go ahead and help yourselves. It is now 7:43, so Audrey, I know that, or Andrea, if you have to go, we know that Marion's on a different schedule, but all you guys can stick around, possibly get a picture with Mr. Hart if you'd like.